What did you see deep in the ocean when you were repairing internet cables?
It started about 2 years ago. I used to work in deep-sea operations. You know, those guys who go out in submarines working on underwater cables that stretch across the ocean floor, keeping the internet running, making sure all the data flows smooth between countries, all the stuff people rely on every day, but never think about. I was part of a team sent out to repair one of those cables. Just a routine job, or so we thought. We were about 300 miles off the coast of Portugal, out in the middle of the Atlantic, miles deep, where it's pitch black, and the pressure's enough to crush you in seconds if something goes wrong. It was me, Kevin, my closest friend on the crew, and a couple of other guys, all crammed into this tiny sub. It was just another day. No big deal, right? We'd done this 100 times before. Go down, fix the cables, come back up. Easy, but this time, everything went wrong. We were down at about 10,000 feet, deep enough that the sun couldn't even think about reaching us. The only light was coming from the sub's external lamps, casting these eerie beams through the water. It was cold, so cold that even inside the sub, you could feel it creeping in through the walls. We were just about to reach the cable when the sonar picked up something. At first, we thought it was a school of fish. Happens all the time. But this was different. The blips were moving too fast, way faster than any fish we'd ever seen. They weren't just swimming, they were swarming. There was coordination in their movement, like a pack of wolves hunting. Kevin, sitting next to me at the controls, frowned and muttered something about it being a glitch. Probably just interference, he said. Magnetic fields down here mess with the equipment. I wasn't so sure. I don't know what it was, but something about that swarm gave me the creeps. It didn't feel right. There was this tension in the air, like the pressure outside wasn't just from the ocean, but something else. Something watching us. Then the static started. It wasn't the usual kind of interference you'd expect from being deep underwater. No, this was different. This was like whispering. Low, eerie, like a voice just on the edge of hearing. I glanced at Kevin, but he didn't seem to notice. He was focused on the controls, trying to keep us on course. I asked him if he heard it, but he just shook his head, said I was imagining things. But I wasn't imagining it. That whispering sound grew louder, more distinct, until it was almost like a soft melody, a hum in the static. And it wasn't just in the comms anymore. It felt like it was inside my head. Suddenly the sonar went wild. The blips, whatever they were moving fast, closing in on us from all sides. Kevin cursed under his breath, trying to steer us away. But it was too late. The lights outside flickered, and that's when I saw them. At first, they looked like women, long hair floating in the water, moving gracefully through the dark. They had these slender, almost elegant shapes, like dancers beneath the waves, but something about them was off. Their movements were too smooth, too perfect. It wasn't natural. Then they got closer, and I realized those weren't women. Their skin, it shimmered, not like human skin but like scales, slick and iridescent. Their eyes, oh God, their eyes glowed this sickly blue, bright enough to cut through the water like headlights. They were staring right at us, unblinking, as they swam around the sub. Kevin saw them too, finally. "What the hell are those?" he whispered, his voice shaking. I didn't answer. I couldn't. One of them, she swam up, close to the window, her face almost pressed against the glass. And that's when I saw the teeth, long, sharp, jagged things, more like a shark's mouth than anything human. She grinned at me, her lips curling back to reveal rows of those teeth, and her eyes, they were hungry. We tried to back the sub away, tried to reverse, but those things were fast, too fast. They darted through the water, circling us, grinning, showing their teeth, and then they started singing. I know how it sounds. You're thinking I'm crazy, right? But I swear to you, it was real. this haunting, high-pitched melody like nothing I'd ever heard before. It wasn't just a sound, it was inside me. I could feel it pulling at me, calling to me, and it wasn't just me. Kevin too. He was staring blankly at the window, his eyes glazed over, like he was in a trance. I yelled at him, shook him, but he didn't even blink. He just kept staring, that song filling his head. Then slowly, so slowly, it was like he wasn't even in control of his own body. He reached for the hatch. That's right, the hatch. He was trying to open the damn thing, hundreds of feet under the ocean, with these things circling us, and he was going to let them in. I screamed at him, pulled him back, but he was gone, lost in that song. There was nothing I could do. I had to knock him out. I didn't have a choice. I punched him as hard as I could, and he dropped to the floor, unconscious. It was the only way to save him. When I looked back at the window, they were still there, grinning, watching, and then I saw it. One of them, the one who had been closest, pressed her hand against the glass, but it wasn't a hand anymore. It had shifted, morphed into this long, bony claw, the fingers stretching out like talons. She scratched at the glass, slowly, like she was toying with us, knowing we were trapped. I thought that was it. I thought they were going to break through, rip us apart, but just as suddenly as they appeared, they were gone. The singing stopped. The creatures swam away, vanishing into the dark like they were never there. Silence. The only sound was the hum of the sub and my own panicked breathing. I don't know how long we sat there in shock. When Kevin finally woke up, he had no memory of what happened. No memory of the creatures, the song, nothing. He didn't believe me when I told him, said it must have been some kind of deep-sea hallucination, pressure sickness, something like that, but I know what I saw, and it wasn't a hallucination. The next day, when we reviewed the footage from the external cameras, I saw them again. It wasn't much, just a glimpse, a flicker of movement before they disappeared, but it was enough. Enough to prove I wasn't crazy. We never spoke about it again. The company brushed it off, said it was nothing, just some unexplained phenomenon. They didn't want the footage getting out. Too many questions, too many secrets. But I kept a copy. I kept it because people need to know. The truth is out there, and it's waiting for anyone brave or stupid enough to look for it. After that mission, I quit. I haven't been near the ocean since. I can't. I won't, because I know what's out there, lurking in the depths. They're real, and they're hunting.